I am speaking with,
Mike Fauscette from IDC.
and Mike gave a great presentation about, well, innovation and collaboration, or essentially collaboration in multiple different locations, I guess. Uh, and I think what I was most intrigued by was the fact, it was a comment you made towards the end where you're talking about companies say, we want you to collaborate, but we pay you to work individually. How often are you seeing this problem?
Well, this is a problem I think has plagued social in general from the time we really started to try to implement some of these systems, and it's a significant internal problem because I think that it's easy to think about. Collaboration's good, and managers tell you that, and you try to get employees to do that, but it's hard to think about, okay, well, then that means that the things that we've done in the past, incentives, rewards, recognition, those also have to be built around the idea of collaboration. And a lot of companies, they just haven't done that, and it takes some real culture shift to get them into the situation where they can really incent people to contribute instead of compete.
I want to talk about culture shift because I don't know if I've ever seen it done successfully. I mean, we know of companies with good culture and we know of companies with bad culture. I don't know of one that shifted from bad to good. Do you?
Well, so I don't think that I don't think it's bad to good, and I think that's that there's probably some extremes that would perhaps never incrementally change their culture. But what I think it is what I just said. It's incremental change that drives new behavior, and I can give you several examples, but one that comes to mind is IBM. And it's fun to take a really big corporate example because I think that a lot of times you think really big culture, really big company probably doesn't change that easily. But a few years ago they built a project called Blue IQ, and they internally implemented their what became their Connections product and used it to change the culture and the way they supported their salespeople in the field. And you think of how significant that problem is. I'm a salesperson. I work in Santiago, Chile for IBM, and I have a question. How do I get an answer? How do I find the right expert? How do I find an expert who has any idea of what I need? And so they built system and culture around that, and to change the culture they used champions, and they did all the right things. They had people work, they trained, they changed the incentives, they did recognition and rewards around building a knowledge sharing and participating in knowledge sharing culture, and they saw significant change in the way that employees wanted to support the field sales staff.
I got from your presentation that if you can collaborate internally, collaborate with your partners, collaborate with your customers, and integrate that all with technology, you've hit the holy grail and you're going to innovate like a madman. How far off are we with that?
Well, I think that you could, and if you did all the things that you're talking about, can we build community around the whole business? And I think we even have to think of our businesses differently. In the past, I think it's easy to think of a firewall, and what's outside's outside, what's inside's inside, and I do business here, and I think that's just wrong. I think that in this new connected world, connectivity is in fact the big part of the business model. So, my employees and my partners are now going to be a part of my business because they can be all tied together and connected. So it's hard, and I think that we're still growing from a technology standpoint, and we're still growing even from an understanding of how we do that. But at the same time, there are companies that are making strides in doing these kinds of things, and they are seeing really good returns. So it's possible, and it's something that I think companies have to work on and think about and plan and build strategy that gets you there, because it's not just accidental, and it certainly won't come out of its own, pop out of its own sort of shell. It's gonna take somebody nurturing it to get it there. But at the same time, the promise is huge. And just the parts that are starting to work are providing tremendous returns. I mean, we see companies that build enterprise social networks get 11 to 30% productivity gains from employees. We see customer satisfaction go up several points in companies that build communities. We see loyalty go up tremendously. We see influence change around that community because the customers and the employees feel engaged, and they feel like they have a part of something. And I think that's really powerful. Over time, companies can do that.
Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.